Hi, I can't see anybody, so I'm sure there's a few people there. So I'm Ruby and I run a local PR agency. And my colleague and I are going to run through a few slides. We're actually going to be quite casual. It's definitely not going to take an hour, maybe 15 minutes, I don't know. So we'll run through our slides, talk about a bit of PR, how you can boost your profile online, and we'll dip in and out as she sees fit. And really, I'm happy for you to message me, email me, however you want to afterwards if you've got queries that you don't want to put out there in front of everybody. So it's going to be quite casual. I'll have a caveat. I have 2 children. They could come in at any time, despite the fact there's a number of notes outside the door. So we'll just roll with that. Okay, so thanks, Em. As you can see, we have first slide, which, excuse me, is going to, is a little bit of the agenda of what we're going to talk about. And these slides will be shared with you afterwards and obviously on YouTube, as Olivia said. So we're going to talk about brand, what branding is, then types of media. Obviously, this is tailored towards digital presence, but we will touch upon print as well, which is very much alive, starting to come alive again after after lockdown, I guess. A bit of a media channel overview, what the landscape is like, what it's like being a PR, a bit of a road to recovery, which I think is a bit of a key phrase now, what we're talking about in PR. And really, I'll be starting to write now about the gloves being off. I think September will show us that actually it'll be quite a competitive market out there. And we're starting to write about that. So we've gone from crisis comms to integrity in business. Now we're talking about road to recovery, but soon it'll be gloves are off, I should think. Next slide, please, Em. Okay, so wanted to talk about your brand. This is about my brand. So branding obviously is an important part of your message, and we want to get your message out there. So really to think about how you're putting your message out there, whether it's visual, whether it's copy. So images and copy form the main part of what we talk about in PR. So here, as you can see, our main message at You Do Better is that we provide and deliver pay-as-you-go PR, which is sort of our tagline. So we're hoping by that message that we're drawing in people who don't want to pay an expensive retainer for what people might see as the norm for a PR agency. So you can spend £30,000 on retaining work with an agency. And I tried to turn the model on its head so that actually we charge an hourly rate, very affordable, £40 an hour, to do whatever work you want at whatever time you want it. So that's our main message. The other niche in the market that I manage is I go into large companies and manage their campaigns. So as an interim campaign manager. So I run global campaigns for large companies, but predominantly M&I and the rest of the team work with SMEs in Herefordshire and Worcestershire, helping them with their marketing, general marketing facility. A lot of companies have quite a heavy sales focus and less on the marketing side. So we jump in and help as necessary. So as you can see, our message says that we provide pay-as-you-go public relations, we manage social media content management, we showcase where we've been seen. So drapers, obviously, people in the fashion apparel industry, that's something that is good for them. It's the place they want to be digitally, drapers online. And I also am a contributing reporter for a number of publications. So we have a portfolio of experience. And again, that comes from our model, which is our pay-as-you-go model, but I work with associates, not employees, and Em is one of those. So I wonder if that helps for you to think about what your message is. What does your brand say about you? Do you think that's a good message for what we do? If you think that I'm missing something there, then I think everything is a learning curve, and I try and be quite succinct in what we say. So maybe that's something that you guys could think about with your boosting your brand online. Are you actually saying what you do on the tin when you market yourselves? Next slide, please. So now I want to just move on to, I might be teaching you all to suck eggs, but there are 3 main types of media And that's paid, owned, and earned. And I'm running off a different platform, so I'm just going to go down there. So keep going, please, with the clicks, all three of them. Thank you. So different three types of media. You're probably all aware of it. So apologies if you already know. So paid media is advertising, events, SEM, displays, video, paid social media if you boost a post or if you run an ad on Facebook, for example. So that is something that you may design yourself and you pay for 50 quid on Facebook or hundreds of pounds on LinkedIn ads or whatever, Google ads, lots and lots of ways you can pay for your message to be put out there. The second type of media is owned media. So it's an organic channel. It's your website, it's your newsletter, your own social media and content marketing, your blogs, your press releases, that sort of thing. And earned media is your PR, something that you invest in. I might write a press release for you, and then we share it with your audience, who you want to be. You want to be in Vogue? Do you want to be in Catering Insight magazine? Do you want to be wherever it is you want to be? And then that also includes community building, collaborations, key influencers, brand ambassadors, that sort of thing. That's earned. So you're, I guess in a way, Olivia is a brand ambassador for the Chamber. So she would go and earn, you know, your trust and your vision for your company, and then bring you on board as a member. So that's the three types of media. I don't know whether it's good to have an interactive conversation here in a webinar, but that would naturally be perhaps a break to have a conversation. But I think perhaps it would be better for me to plow on and go to the next slide and then have your questions later. So a channel overview really about those media. I'm sure you're all aware of print. Now I've changed this to incorporate obviously the Chamber because we're in their sphere, and You Do Better. So I'm trying to showcase You Do Better in the context of the Chamber. So for you guys, you'd obviously have to put your own companies in there. So really for PRs, PR agencies, print is the bread and butter of what we do. So we will provide, I guess, a quality controlled piece of information in editorial and share it with a defined audience of people. So it allows us then to quality control, I guess, what we say. This is the information that we want to share with you. So we write it on your behalf to share your brand in what you might call a pristine environment. So we share it, we hand it over to the editor. And for anybody that you can't guarantee print, you can have a good relationship with editors and you can be good at what you do. The main issue is to write something that is newsworthy, and to be newsworthy, it has to be timely. So obviously BD magazine is your bi-monthly, so every 2 months BD magazine goes out, and obviously Raheem currently is the editor of that. So we share information not only for You Do Better but for our clients as well who are in the Chamber, and we pitch basically to see whether we can get an article into BD magazine, for example. But that's not its only value. So we would then tailor it to make sure that it fit. So each edition of BD magazine and every other magazine has forward features. So you go onto their website or download the media pack and you have a look. So we could be writing, Em and I could be writing for April 2021 at the moment for whatever that forward feature is in that publication we want to get into. So for BD magazine, they have the same, they have forward features, and we write for that. But if it is not published, if it's not printed, then we can still use that piece as content for a blog on Google, which will then increase our search engine. So anything that we do, we always are mindful that we want it to be in print or the digital version, but there is still value if it is not printed. So over to search engine marketing. So everything that we write, we have in mind Google being the god of all things digital, and we want to use the keywords that you have for your business. So for me, we would have PR, public relations, Worcestershire, perhaps Herefordshire, a bit smaller. So we would always bear that in mind when we're writing. Our main tagline is pay as you go PR. So if we're trying to be at the top of PR UK, we probably won't achieve that. So if you bear that in mind when you're writing too, if you're trying to be the best at whatever, you have to set yourself realistic goals, because Google's not going to find you, or you're not going to be found on Google if I think our small PR agency is going to be found as the PR agency in the UK. So here is a box on, if you type in your company name and you have signed up to Google My Business, which would be a top tip to do that, and then you can capture your own identity, I guess, on Google, and try and try and capture those keywords for yourself. So over here, I don't know whether you can see me, over here you see that I've got my profile, and at that point I had 8 Google reviews. I now have 30, and if you take anything away from this, I suggest that's the thing that you work on. Capture your Google My Business name and work on getting reviews on Google, because that's a great way of moving up the rankings, and it's not too difficult to do. So we want to drive as much traffic to your website as humanly possible with the content that we're writing. So when you bear that in mind with your blogs and social media, that sort of thing, it's all a big jigsaw. So you want to do a bit of print, you want to do a bit of making sure that you bear in mind your search engine marketing at the same time. Hopefully that makes sense. Could you pop the next slide up, please? Thank you. And the next channel I want to just briefly talk about, because not everybody will want to do this, is out-of-home display. Basically, you'll probably see it at 6 Ways. I've copied that off Tinternet. And the Worcestershire campaign that was recently run in Birmingham. So I'm trying to keep it relevant to this webinar specifically. So it has big impact, big branding, big impact. It maximizes your brand awareness in key areas, but it is big money. So not everybody wants to do that. Obviously, 6 Ways, you have quite the audience there, and if that floats your boat, then that's great. Worcestershire has gone out and about with theirs, and I think it's been pretty successful. A lot of luxury brands do use this advertising as street posters. Obviously, you need to have the right permissions to do that as well, but that's quite an expensive thing, and obviously is mainly non-digital. Next is TV and cinema. Again, not everybody can afford to do that, but many brands use it to promote their medium, to capture people's attention. And I have previously worked for a company where I specialised, I guess, in product placement, which working for, in this case, microscooters, where we placed microscooters on Emmerdale. One of the kids, can't remember, it was a lifetime ago, was jumping around on a microscooter. So part of that role is quite a wide role to promote microscooters around the UK, and we placed it with the kids. So you don't. So it's like a balance. You don't pay for that. So microscooter will have part of their, or companies will have part of their budget whereby they give away a number of items, and in return they boost their brand by appearing in TV programs, that sort of thing. Okay, thank you. And then there's also nearly there now, affiliates. And affiliates, people that you work with to help you make a purchase, and they then get a commission. Now, I don't know if these guys do get a commission, but I was struggling to find another way of describing it without using another company. So you hook up with, you collaborate with, you have a strategic partnership or a strategic relationship with other companies around. So in this case, for example, you guys have run a Love Local business campaign in partnership with the Worcester News, and that has gone pretty well. So I've seen, so I thought I'd use it there. So affiliates, often working together with other people, you can boost your brand, whether it's online or in person, because you can tap into their market as well. And then of course there's display, website banners digitally on sites that you're browsing. You can, that's something that we don't necessarily specialize in, but bigger brands can buy the audience with a whitelisted environment, so that they're more efficient in their spending. So again, I don't know whether this is relevant to the chamber, but they do have affiliations, and perhaps they use whitelisting as well, which moves around the internet. So maybe when you've gone and looked at, I don't know, Amazon or something, and then you go onto Facebook and it seems to follow you around what you've just looked at, that's what that is. And then you're getting into bigger money. So I don't know whether that's relevant to everybody, but I thought we would broaden out what the channels were. Okay, Em's next. I'm going to talk a little bit about social media, which is probably going to be more relevant to most parties here. Thank you, Em. Take yourself off mute. You're on mute, Em.
I've just been muted.
There you are.
Really odd. Yeah, so social media, it's a key tool for your business. It's an immediate way to contact your audience and your clients, your customers. I mean, Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter, they're all sort of more consumer focused, but there's still a good pull for business to business there. But LinkedIn, if you are B2B, then it is sort of a key platform. It's really easy to just contact sort of the important people in your target market and immediately contact them and sell to them. And I think there's quite a few of the other routes you can go down to. There's sort of more direct marketing routes, so through WhatsApp and SMS marketing, and then also you've got sort of web chats, which enable your clients to speak to you through your website, and often you can set these up just so that they provide immediate answers without your clients having to wait for you to sort of come back to them, and it just sort of improves the customer experience vastly. I don't know if you've got anything to add, Ruby.
Yeah, I think there are a lot of channels that some you'll be more familiar with than others. As Em says, that LinkedIn is exceptionally good and has been pretty active even over lockdown. Weibo we don't tend to use, but it does have 445 million active users worldwide for micro blogging. And some of these applications are much bigger. For example, WeChat in China and things like that. And maybe you want to look at your audience as well. Do you really want to use Insta if you haven't pretty images to pop out there? And also that's more of a younger market. I think Facebook is commonly more used by us oldies for business, but you know, you need to tailor what you're saying to each channel. You can use things like, I don't know, Pugler and all manner of other things to stack up your social media and to change according to which channel it is. That's totally up to you. I personally prefer to do it raw live, so that I can tailor it for ourselves and our clients. But I think it's fair to remember that social media only forms part of the PR marketing jigsaw. If you're relying solely on social media, I don't think you'll be as successful as if you were looking at all of these things as pieces of the jigsaw. Again, I don't know if you have any questions, but we will plough on. Next slide, please, Em. Thank you. Okay, so the media landscape has changed somewhat, but it always does. But obviously with coronavirus, things changed. And print kind of kept going for a period of time. And I noticed with the publications that I work with mostly, and I can't say for all of them, but those ones, they stopped for a tad there for a couple of months. And now we're starting to gear up again to print. It's still pivotal, I believe, to part of your portfolio of marketing. People believe that magazines are losing their relevance, but in Pracy, media is not. So it's something to be hugely aware of. People want to consume information, and people therefore want to share their information as well. So I would urge you to still consider print, which then goes into a digital format, as part of your PR spend, really. I put it in your budget because I think it's hugely relevant still. I could talk for hours about print, but that would probably be quite boring. So let's move on to a couple of the last slides, and then before we open out for any questions. And if there aren't any, that's cool, but you can email me or Em later. Thank you. So yeah, this is me. So I would just say, in terms of the road to recovery, that traditional PR is still a place to be in terms of your marketing plan and structure. I'd have a strategy. Be more aware of the alternative and upcoming methods, collaborations, influencers, brand ambassadors using social media. But be creditable. If you do it correctly, it will take some time, but you want to do it in a way that is going to reap you benefits. So whatever works for you is what is going to work for you. So we don't have a hard and fast plan as to what we would do for one company as to another. We need to get to understand, you know, what your audience is and know what you want to do. Next and final slide, please, Em. So I think it's the final slide anyway. Penultimate, actually, penultimate. So a few PR top tips from Em and I. Understand your key message. What is it that you do? What is it that you want to say? Maybe create a PR calendar. Em and I do it all the time. We like a good spreadsheet. We have a calendar of things. Your business, again, will have some peaks where others don't. Let's see if you can fill it with content that's relevant and newsworthy. Find your hook. What is your hook? Ours is that we are pay as you go. So we are affordable, we are achievable, and we work really hard. What's your hook? We build rapport with the media, with editors. We're a little bit different. That I don't tend to do the PR schmooze. I tend to say it like it is and do what I say I'm going to do. And that also has its niche. Em and I will never in our lifetime miss a deadline. I am certain of that. I suggest that everybody embrace the social media. It's out there, but if you're going to do it, do one or two well rather than all of them not very well. Define your audience. Who do you want to hear your message? Because that's key. You're never going to achieve very much if you don't know what it is that you want to do. Your news is news. Some people like to share their news a lot. And then it becomes less newsworthy, because if you're sharing everything, not everybody wants to hear it. But if you do have something and you're a little bit worried that it might be shining your own halo, then that's how we can help. We can shine it for you. And do ask for help. We're here to help you, whether it's later today in questions or whenever. Em and I are more than happy to answer your questions. So last slide is just, thank you, Em, is just my details. Please use them. And Em's email address is em@youdobetter.co.uk if you want to ask her directly instead. Okay, I think that's us done, but please do ask questions, and if you don't want to, it's cool. Send me an email. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Ruby. Thank you, Em, as well. I will share the slides with everybody after the webinar, so everybody can kind of deep dive into that information if they want to. But has anybody got any questions now for either Ruby or Emily while we've got them here? Any advice, anything you want clarifying? Now is the time to ask. You can either put it in the chat, or if you want to, you can, I think I've enabled you to actually unmute yourself if you wanted to have a bit more of a conversation. First question then, what are the benefits of Google My Business? Ruby, you're on mute. There you go.
Yeah, I think I'm off now. Google My Business, huge benefits, John, I think that was. So as I said, Google is like the Bible, the God of the internet. So we want to capture our brand. So if your company is called You Do Better, for example, you just literally type in Google My Business and then go through the process. You need an email address and just go through the process. It's super simple. If I can do it, I'm sure you can do it. And capture that. It will ask you to put in keywords, and then you have a profile. So when you post on Facebook, for example, or LinkedIn, you also post to your Google My Business page. So it's just another outlet. But Google likes you to do what it likes you to do. So if you're ticking a box, then it's going to be helping yourself. I did notice another quick question, which was with regard to that. So Google reviews, which is on Google My Business page. If you then get your profile up and you have your account, you'll see on the left-hand side, I don't know how to share that with you, but that you can post, which would be your post, and then you have a profile and reviews, and there's a short link that you can copy and paste. I don't personally do it, but I probably should do what I say, which is pop it on your email, maybe your email footer, or just literally ask people, oh, when we last, it's quite a nice customer service thing. If you've just delivered something for somebody, maybe it's how did that go for you? Let us know if there's anything else you can do. And then say something like, would you mind leaving us a Google review? Short link, thank you very much. Others go further and say, for your chance to win a hamper at Christmas or in December, please leave us a review. Some companies do that. They really are the gold dust of everything you want to do for your business to work Google properly. So I suggest you have a look at that. It really is fairly simple. If I can do it, you can. So I saw those 2 questions. I'm not sure if there are any more.
Yeah, no, I was just going to sort of echo on the Google reviews. Really, we went through a period of trying to increase ours, because absolutely saw the value in leaving reviews, but also then leaving them for other businesses that we work with and affiliates. Because the way I see it from my point of view, if I'm on Amazon looking at a product, I go straight to the reviews. It's exactly the same for businesses you're going to choose to work with, isn't it?
It is.
No, go on.
Is that me? Yes, yeah. They're hugely valuable. And I do, when I've been really poorly recently, and a couple of people have really helped me, including Sam Holdaway, actually, who is ex-Chamber and now works for Westfield Health. And she did go above and beyond. I've been in and out of hospital, and she really helped me. So, I know people, I sent her a card, I was very grateful, but actually a Google review does actually help the business as well. So I'm sure she would have preferred flowers, but she got a Google review instead. And they're very valuable, again, on LinkedIn and on Facebook. But I would say if you were going to get a review, testimonial, whatever, you would then ask for it on Google. And you can cut and paste it, obviously, and pop it on your website and use it as a post saying, aren't I awesome? This person left this review. I think, personally, they're more valuable than Facebook. But that's up to you. And once I think you get up to 25 or 30 reviews, then you sort of step up in Google world. And I'm sure, again, you do at another level, but I haven't got that many. But I'm sure if you Googled it, it will tell you. It's definitely worth looking at. And you might want to incentivize it with a hamper or whatever would suit you. Or, again, you might want to use it as part of a nice follow-up for service. And then, would you mind? People do need to have a Google address, a Gmail address. So if you don't, maybe it's more of a bind, but a lot of people do. So is there anything else?
Thank you, Ruby. Just looking in the chat, no, not a question, but actually just a really nice comment from Kathy at Collate, just to say how fantastic you are in what everything you do to support them. So yeah, just a bit of a shout out for you. I think that one was.
Thank you very much.
Has anybody else got any other questions or comments? If not, then we can wrap up. Every time I say that, another one gets put in, so I always leave it for a minute. Emily, would you mind just stop sharing your screen for a moment? And I'm just going to have a quick look at everybody in case anyone is trying to get my attention now. Are we all happy then? I will share the presentation slides after this, and I will also share the contact details for Ruby and for Emily as well. Just before you all go, I did just want to go over a couple of upcoming webinars that I thought would be of benefit to you.